Hey, what's up? This is Modifieds here. Well, what you see in front of you is the lubricants that I have. This is my little collection of oils, greases, and lubricants that I've bought over probably a couple years' time. Where they've come from, I've bought them probably one by one whenever I needed to try something for a certain application. These are all the lubricants for my guns, knives, and flashlights, and also my RC cars, my bicycle, and my Gixxer street bike. Now, a lot of the future lubricant tests are going to be from what you see here. I'm going to be testing mostly these on selected knives to see if certain lubricants work in some knives better than others. To go over what I have here, you'll see starting on the left is mineral oil. I use that to coat my knives to prevent them from rust, since it's food safe. And if you're embarrassed about the laxative bottle, you can buy these small little clear bottles and pour your mineral oil in there and keep that around the house to use on your kitchen knives or even your EDC knives. And then behind that is a butcher block conditioner. You can put that on your blades to prevent them from rust, and it's also for your wooden handles and your cutting boards. And then you got DuPont Teflon multi-use lubricant, and Finish Line dry Teflon lube, liquid wrench chain lube, Remington Rem oil. And then the next four are going to be a dry lube, which is liquid wrench dry lubricant, which is a Surflon. Supposedly it's a dry ceramic type lubricant. And then you've got my favorite Remington dry lube. And then you've got some graphite lubricant. And then you have a dry molybdenum lube, which is, you can put it on bullets. That's what they advertise it for, but you can put it on pretty much anything. It's pretty much the same thing as a Smooth Coat by Century Solutions. And then you've got some silicone spray lubricant. You can also use that to coat your knives to protect them from rust. Silicone is food safe, but I'm not sure about the other chemicals in it. And then behind that is supposedly a good rust preventer, but it really stinks. Has a very strong smell to it. I would not recommend that for knives or guns at all. And then for grease, you've got a waterproof green grease. I use that for differentials in my RC cars and stuff like that. And then Super Lube silicone compound. It has a wear reducing and friction reducing additive, Teflon PTFE, and that is actually food safe, accidental food safe. So that's a great thing to put on your knives. And I actually put that on all my flashlight threads. And it also protects your O-rings. It's good to put some silicone grease on your O-rings in your flashlight, and since that has Teflon, it'll protect the threads through repeating unscrewing and screwing your cap off your flashlights to change out the batteries, you'd want something to prevent wear on the aluminum threads, and I would highly recommend Super Lube with Teflon. Since it's silicone, you'd want silicone to put on your threads. At least if it doesn't have Teflon in it, at least get something 100% pure silicone grease like this from MG Chemicals. It's about 12 or 13 bucks for that tube right there, and I would not suggest anything else here for O-rings on flashlights, because silicone is manufacturer recommended, and you can do your research on what to put on flashlights and it'll always be silicone grease. And you've got WD-40, which I do not use really at all. That's why I have such a small can there. And then for my connections, my cables, I use MG Chemicals Super Contact Cleaner with polyphenol ether. That protects the gold and prevents oxidation and provides lubrication for contacts, plugs, and connectors, switches, dials, stuff like that. And then you've got Hornady one-shot case lube. That's what I use to lubricate my cases when I'm reloading ammunition. I've tried other things, but this stuff works really good. Prevents the cases from getting stuck in the die real well. And for knives, all this stuff right here is actually pretty good stuff for use in knives. You got silicone grease, good rust preventer, keeps your knives smooth. It puts a really hydraulic feeling on your knives when you open them. It doesn't open quickly, but it's got a smooth feel to it. You got Hops Elite gun oil. I've used that on knives when I didn't have anything else, and it works alright. Then you've got Sin, Acer Racing Sin. It's a bearing lubricant. It is, I think, the best bearing lubricant there is. You can take a bearing and lubricate it with that and spin it on your finger, and it'll just spin for at least 30 seconds by itself. And then you've got Smooth Coat and Tough Glide by Century Solutions. Both of them are a dry lubricant. I've yet to find a good application on knives yet. I kind of failed my last knife test, and the Labelle 107 oil is what I use for motors to lubricate the bushings in the RC car motors. And then you've got the famous Chris Reeve knives grease, which have made my knives feel really buttery smooth. So far, it's probably my top recommended knife grease right now if you like to use grease. And my second is probably Extreme Fluoro, because I would pick Tetra gun grease because it provides that buttery smooth feeling that the CRK grease, but it's not really good for you. Skin contact, and it's pretty hazardous. That's why a lot of people shy away from it for guns. But I do use it on my guns, especially my Glock. I mean, I've got over 2,000 rounds in my Glock, and I've lubed it with Tetra gun grease forever. And if I were to take apart my Glock and show you the internals, you would say that this gun has like 200 rounds through it. I mean, there's like literally no wear on the slide or the barrel. So it does work good in knives, but just make sure that you just put it in the pivot. Make sure it doesn't come in contact with your hands and skin every time you use your knife. Next to that is a Hobby Lube white grease with Teflon, which is a lithium based, I think it's white lithium with Teflon in it. Next to that is a Silicote Real Lube with PTFE. That is a silicone based lube with PTFE. If you can find that instead of the Super Lube, I would suggest that for your flashlight threads and your O-rings to protect your O-rings from cracking and drying. Next to that is Super Lube oil. That is the oil with PTFE, and it's almost the same as Rimmel oil, but it doesn't have that odor, or I think it's pretty safe. It's non-toxic, I think. And next to that is Rimmel oil with Teflon lubricant. It's pretty thin stuff. You know how Rimmel oil just kind of dissipates over time. So if there's anything here you'd like to see tested on a knife, just let me know. I'll be glad to do it. I already plan to at least test these out right here on knives to see how it is, except for this. I'm not going to use that. And by the way, I'll just have to make another video about this, but put a mirror polished edge on my YMMVs on. That is actually, I reached a new level of sharpness. I'll have to make a video about that later. But that thing is more than hair whittling sharp. Or it's literally hair whittling sharp. Now, all the lubricants that I've bought are based on my decisions on what I've read on forums for the application that I've needed at the time. I didn't like go out and buy a bunch of lubricants, you know. It's just whenever I needed to lube the chain on my bike, I researched and figured out what the best lube was, and I went out and bought it. And then maybe if I didn't like it, I would buy another one to compare it. That's why I have many lubricants of the same type or genre. Now, I've had good luck with everything you see here, and I would highly recommend everything here. Just make sure you use it for the right application. Don't go and put your Rimmel oil on your flashlight threads, because you'll dry out and crack your O-rings, and then, you know. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I really appreciate all of my new subscribers that I've gotten within the past couple months. I've more than doubled within the past couple months, and probably 3 to 4 months ago I remember I only had maybe 30 subscribers. Might have been longer than that, maybe 6 months, but I've more than doubled within the past couple months, and I really appreciate that, all the support and comments and the likes and stuff. If you have any requests for any type of videos, then just send me a message. I try to make videos that are out of the norm. You know, I would like to review knives, but there's just so many reviewers on YouTube, and there's not many people who do the weird stuff that I try to do. It's just something to get away from the norm. I'll try to do some normal knife reviews and maybe gun reviews and stuff like that later on, but for now it's just gonna be weird stuff. I will talk to you guys later, and you'll see me in the next video. Actually, I'll just show you guys real quick here. This is the barrel on my Glock 30, and this has over 2,000 rounds in it. And you can see there is no wear. There is no wear at all on the barrel. There is no color fading at all. There's no silver showing up on the barrel yet. In fact, there's no silver anywhere. Even in, I mean, you look at everything, there's no silver. Still got the black coating on there, and that is all from Tetra gun grease. I think the first couple hundred rounds I did use the Hobbs Elite gun oil until I found out what the best ingredients to reduce wear, and that is PFPE, or a perfluoropolyether grease. And this is Tetragun grease, is a fluoropolymer grease. And I suppose the Finish Line Extreme Fluoro would work really well too. And it also makes your gun really smooth when you operate the slide. It's very smooth. And as you can see, I put grease everywhere. I put grease anywhere you can put it, and I've never had a malfunction, never had a jam. It just operates really smooth. No wear, no rust, of course, since it's a Glock. But not to get sidetracked or anything, I just want to show you how smooth and quiet the Glock is when used with Tetragun grease. Try to cover up my serial number there so you guys don't see that. You can even see on the ramp there's no wear at all, and most guns would usually wear there. You know, every time you shoot a bullet, it jams another bullet up on that ramp, and it creates wear over time. But that hasn't been the case, because who's calling me?